Hello, my name is Galina Kurdina. I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and I am a victim of psychotronic weapons, mind control experimentation. I am an involuntary human subject who has never ever given an informed consent to be a guinea pig in this experimentation. Today I would like to talk to you about one unusual subject, about government agents, perpetrators, slanderers, and liars in our TI community. Sorry for my speech because I experience forced speech. This is, first of all, perpetrators prevent me from talking normally, and of course I am extremely tired. I fell asleep around 7 a.m. this morning. These criminals stimulated me all the night. I went to bed and they stimulated me so much that I had to get up. So sorry if I make any mistakes. First of all, I would like to talk to you about two women, Shari Guarneri and Karen Stewart. I don't want to read all of emails because it will take a lot of time, hours, to read all these exchanges. But I would like to tell you a little bit about this woman, Shari Guarneri. She found me on the internet, or maybe somebody gave her my email address, or maybe somehow else. She found me and she contacted me, sent me an email letter where she introduced herself as a targeted individual and started bragging that she had a lot of proofs that she has some records from, I cannot remember, like doctors. And I answered her as usual, Shari, if you can share with us names and requisites like phone numbers and email addresses of your doctors, please do it. If you are comfortable with this right now, but if not, could you do it after disposition of your court case? As I can remember, she had or she was going to start to file statements of claim with American courts. As usual, nothing else. After that, she started harassing and stalking me. She sent a lot, like tens of emails, and intimidated me. Why do you demand from me medical records? Why do you demand private information about me? This is my private life and you cannot. I answered her many times. Shari, I have never ever asked you about any private information from you. I have never ever asked you about any medical records from your doctors or from private investigators or whatever. Never. I just asked you about names and requisites of your doctors, if you are comfortable to share this information with us before court disposition of your case. And she, despite of all this I didn't excuse, I wasn't guilty, but explanations. She continued to harass me and stalk me over the internet. After that, she found, I don't know how she managed, but she found information that ICATOR members of ICATOR organization, they collect money in order to pay for examinations of targeted individuals in Faraday cages in European universities. And she started threatening and intimidating of us, ICATOR members. She intimidated us that collecting money for these purposes is criminal. You cannot do it. Okay, of course, these letters, all the rest is like vibration aware and blah blah blah. I am a targeted individuals and attitude people regarding crucial things, proofs, evidences, witnesses, court cases. These circumstances reveal true nature, true true motives of these people. And after that, there was an interview on the internet with a journalist, and in this interview, it is posted online. In this interview, I just mentioned that, as my doctor thinks, I have nanomaterials in my system. These nanomaterials, I use these chips, and unfortunately, these nanomaterials cannot be detected by X-rays or MRIs or CT scans. Unfortunately not. Of course, metal, yes. And one more time, this Shari Guarneri sent a letter to me and this journalist. I don't want to mention her name. Maybe I haven't got her permission. I told something wrong. That some implants may be detected by X-rays, and she wrote to me and to this journalist. This is I'm reading from her letter. Galina has offered zero in medical knowledge, vocabulary, or method to theory. She just says, no, you can see implants in X-ray. David Lawson's technology, while first consensual with the CIA and later abused, all found in current medical testing. Melanie's and blah blah blah. I explained to this Shari that I'm talked about absolutely different things, and I wrote to her and other people, dear all, the truth is that this woman, Shari Guarneri, offered lies many times. For example, she sent me a lot of emails and blamed that I asked her to disclose her medical records. Sorry, I never ever did it. I have never ever asked her to do this. This is just one of her lies. In the podcast, this interview with journalist, I meant that nanomaterials cannot be detected by X-rays and nothing else. Of course, implants made of metals can be perfectly detected by equipment in hospitals. If anybody has a report from medical doctors or scientists that nanomaterials have been found in human systems by means of X-rays, please inform us about it. Sincerely. And this Shari, one more time, wrote, now you have all seen the emails offered by Galina. A poor example to collect it without merit. Galina, I asked nicely for you to stop. My questions, one more time, I didn't start. She started one more time for the third time, blaming me that I claimed that all implants cannot be detected, which is not true. Continue with her email. My questions still remain. You offered no reason or cause to action to collect my private data already disclosed to former NSA professionals. Why is someone from Russia and Canada being attacked by someone from China? This is about my story. You can read it online on our website. Go to organizationofmindcontrolvictims.com and find their testimonies. So, one more time, she lied that I demanded or asked her for her private data, which was and is not true. I answered her, dear answered to all people. Dear all, Shari continues to lie that I asked her to disclose her medical records and private data. You saw the whole thread of our letters. I sent this thread exchange of first letters. I have never ever asked her to do this. I do not know how to stop this lie. She just invents more and more slanders, forces me to answer them, and wastes my time. One more time, this is a perp's tactic. Tactic of perpetrators. Okay, everything is clear with this Shari Guarneri, who actually intimidates us and calls our attempts to collect money and make examinations in universities in order to detect implants in our bodies. She calls all these attempts criminal. Everything is clear. And now about Karen Stewart. After this email about Shari Guarneri, Karen Stewart started defending this Shari. She sent to all of us an email. Galina, drop it. Shari is no pup. Don't your diapers need changing yet? I answered, dear all, Karen kept silence when Shari invented a lie that I demanded her medical records. And I can prove this because I still keep exchange of our first emails with Shari Guarneri, where I asked for requisite for doctors after disposition of court case. And she attacked me and blamed me as if I demanded her medical records. It was not true. I continue. Karen kept silence when Shari openly threatened and intimidated us, called criminal our attempts to get proofs of our targeting. But when I said that Shari's tactic is actually a perp's tactic, Karen immediately answered that Shari is not a perp and even suggested to change my diapers. Thanks, Karen. I would not survive without you, Karen. Karen, you begged us to remove your name from the list. But all of a sudden, you answered my letter. Do you work with Shari in couple? And before this, I excluded name of Karen from list. I just double checked. And somehow she received my letter. Stewart answers, and did you remove it? No. So this is what you get. Millicent asked to be removed and blah, blah, blah. I have no idea who are, nor do I care. And all this stuff, just end of this, end of this letter. No, please, you are old dog manure on my shoe, and I wish to scrape it off as soon as possible. She started open insults. Before this, we just exchanged letters, exchanged our opinions. Maybe openly blamed that Shari Guarneri was a provocateur, slanderer, liar, and her tactic was a tactic of a perpetrator. Now she started open insults. My answer, yes, I excluded your address. After I had received and read your request, I double-checked it, but you somehow received my letters. I have no idea who you are as well. Is it you, a former or maybe active government agent? All of us traumatized. She said that Shari was very traumatized. That's why she behaved this way. I answered, all of us are traumatized. I have medical records that I have developed post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of psychotronic attacks. But this diagnosis doesn't let me lie about other targeted individuals or call their attempts to get proofs of their targeting criminal. This is exactly what Shari does. She threatens and intimidates us. What compassion are you waiting from me after her clear and open threats? And so on. Just I have never ever called Shari a fake. I do not know her evidences and do not want to know about her anymore. But I call her actions perps actions and will continue to do it since I have enough proofs of it. What the hell accusations of my lie? What did I lie? Prove your words. If not, you are the same lie as Shari. Okay. And yes, and the last, why do you insult me and call all dogmen you? Are you disappointed with something? Are you disappointed that people guessed that you and Shari walk in couple like two clowns on circus arena, you old puppeteer? And after that, I don't want to exchange, to read all these exchanges, but after that, of course, she just, it seems to me that she, maybe she lost her temper or something like that. She called me ignorant trash. She called me obnoxious asshole, an ignorant, obnoxious asshole. She called me ignorant asshole one more time. Okay, what else? She called me boring imbecile. She called me, she wrote to me, you have no accomplishments, no worth, so you seek to bully others, you pretend to want to help, to give yourself what you believe is value. Okay. You're a fraud. You're a Stalin pretending to be Mother Teresa. You have bullied the wrong people. After that, after all these, exercises, what exercises? I answered to her, this is delirium. Go urgently to a doctor. Maybe somebody will help you. Old provocateur and idiot. After that, she called me. She wrote to me, ha ha ha, how clever, and so on. By the way, to be hired to work for NSA for almost 30 years is not something someone of average intelligence or any instability can do. But you would not be clever enough to realize this, though an average intellect or higher would. How much longer shall we continue? When a dog bites my hand, I stick my hand down his throat until he learns not to bite. Are you as smart as a dog, or less so? So she just openly intimidates me. She wants to stick her hand down my throat. I answered one more time. Go to a doctor. He can prescribe you medications to calm you down. If you cannot forget my email address forever. She answered, of course you are less intelligent than a dog. Stop writing and okay, I got a very clean bill of health and always have. I answered to her, this is my last letter. Stop writing to me, since I am not a doctor. Forget about me. I do not exist for you, old provocateur and idiot. Your clean bill of health may be a mistake, since you are obviously in a state of obsessive-compulsive syndrome. It's a miracle that you were hired by NSA and has worked there for 30 years. If other agents have the same level of intellect, education, and culture, the same manners as you have, it's a disaster for America. Forget about me. I cannot help you. Okay, I wrote to her out of compassion. I can do this for years, as she promised me to bully and harass me for years. This is obvious obsessive compulsive disorder. Go to a doctor. Maybe it's not too late. I really got bored. Of course, she insulted me more. Uh, okay, she wrote to me, this is like rubbing a dog's nose in its own pee until it learns. I'm guessing you have no capacity to learn. Okay, so now you have an idea about who is this Karen Stewart. But this is not the end of story about Stewart. You know, several days ago, even more, it happened in the middle of February this year. Annie Kaspar, you know this targeted individual, she sent several desperate email letters from Iceland. You know, maybe these letters were inadequate for somebody, but I want to say to you that all of us, we look inadequately and sound inadequately from time to time, not because we are sick, we have really psychiatric disorders, but because of these attacks upon us. And she sent some Annie Kaspar, she sent some desperate email letters from Iceland that she experienced these mind control effects upon her, that she was in pain, she was there alone, and so on. She asked for money, maybe she asked for money for some help. And you know, when I receive such letters, if I can, I answer. If I cannot, and I see that I cannot help, and I see that this person is just in pain and maybe behaves a little bit inadequate, I do not answer these letters. Try not to answer. But instead of this, another government agent, Karen Stewart is one government agent with 30 years in NSA. There is another government agent, Julian McKinney. And this Julian started mocking and ridiculing this Annie Kaspar. I don't want to read her letters to Annie Kaspar, but she sent them to all of us. You know, just another person, LA Raid, she answered to Julian. How do you know, Julian, the email really came from her? The next time you have a topic of discussion on the mental status of another targeted individual, please exclude me. Again, I back N 1,000,000 times. Okay, 1,000,000%. After that, Julian McKinney started mocking this woman or man, LA Raid. I sent a letter to all targeted individuals who were involved in this exchange. Dear all, please do not contact Julian. Never send her letters and never answer her mails. It will be a waste of your time, since it's obvious for me that she is a perpetrator. She will never ever help you, never give you a right suggestion, never support you morally, just ridicules, mockery, provocations, and disinformation. Good luck to Annie Kaspar. Thank you all for your work and support, and my name. I just can say to you that I read a lot of letters from Julian McKinney, and never her suggestions, her advices were right or useful or helpful. They were all the time, they have been something opposite. Okay, after that, another targeted individual sent all of us information that really Julian McKinney, she was a military intelligence officer. And after that, as usual, they walk in tandem, they walk in couples, they support and back up each other. Karen Stewart and Shari Guarneri, Julian McKinney and Karen Stewart. All of a sudden, Karen Stewart pops up. And I don't want to read everything, just an excerpt from her email. Stop with the bullcrap immature name calling. Not one of us have proofs any other person is a perp, and blah blah blah. And end of this email letter from Stewart. Great resources there. This is about information from the internet about Julian McKinney, that she really was a military officer, military intelligence officer. Great resources there, as usual, Jeff, to include an actual KGB agent you side with. Of course, most likely she mentioned me, and I understood that she mentioned me. I answered, "Dear all, I am so touched by a letter from Stewart. I am almost crying and weeping how many write just and robots in her letters, articles and videos. Now please read an exchange of emails between me and her that discloses her real face. How she insults, uses bullcrap immature name-calling for no reason at all. And the last, she calls somebody a KGB agent. Whom? And where are her proofs? If me, survivor of KGB FSB stalking and oppositioner to Putin's power, who spends hours and days on Russian websites actually working for Russian opposition, I would like to know this from Stewart. It will be very interesting to hear how she calls another person a government agent without any proofs. I want to say that Stewart always acts opposite to what she says. Sincerely, Galina Kurdina." Just I want to say to you, of course, I call Stewart and Julian McKinney government agents, but they are proven government agents. I call them provocateurs and slanderers and liars, and but I prove this. These people really start all arguments, fights. They really invent slander and lies about other people. Of course, I call Stewart an idiot, but I have proved that she is a real idiot. To call me KGB agent, sorry for my false speech, this is a real idiotism. Okay, she answered me. Galina was stalking and harassing Guarneri, all opposite, and asked by many people to leave Shari Guarneri alone and stop bullying her. One more time. Every time Guarneri started, she started all these arguments. She emailed me. She found me. She emailed me. She maybe emailed other people but lied about me. I stepped in to deal with her bullying. Galina told her Canadian friends she and her husband were KGB, and she defected to Britain, where they debriefed her. She means, of course, British intelligence services, then sent her to Canada to get rid of her. Her own son abandoned her there as soon as he could get away from her. There, I didn't understand where, in Britain or in Canada. Not my words, Galina's to a targeted individual in Canada who shared with me she is a con artist. Твою мать, Galina. Твою мать means in Russian, fuck your mother. Stewart National Security Agency, intelligence analyst, 28 years. Okay, just I was speechless for some time, but I answered her and all the other. Stewart must go to any psychiatrist and start a treatment immediately. I divorced more than 30 years ago. I have never ever been to Britain. I have never ever had any connections with any special or secret services in the world, neither in Russia nor in Britain or Canada. Nothing, nowhere. And never ever British intelligence services interrogated me or asked any questions. Nothing. Absolutely 100% slander. Who shared all this lie with the government agent and perpetrator Stewart? Of course, nobody could invent this lie except Stewart herself. I run my group at my own expense and never asked money for this. I do not demand any membership fees. You're an idiot, Stewart, not worth even for criminals in NSA. She answered me, "Dear Dirtbag, you are an ignorant psycho. I have written evaluations for my lawsuit attesting to my strong sanity from 2 different senior psychology experts. You have no such thing and never possibly could have. Again, one of your Canadian friends contacted me after your bullying episode with Shari. Твою мать, fuck your mother one more time." From Stewart, who is against any name calling. I answered to Stewart, "You, Stewart, an idiot with evaluations from unknown experts. Give us name of this Canadian friend. If you do not disclose this name, it means that you invented these lies. You insult innocent people for no reason. You call them perpetrators and agents without any proofs. You are a provocateur, an agent and perpetrator who always acts opposite to her own professed values. Idiot who was thrown out even by her masters in NSA." She answered, "With whom have you eaten lunch and told your story and bragged that you use contributions to your organization to buy yourself nice things?" Guys, it's just, I don't know, maybe she works as a comic stand-up, but all what she produces, all what she writes sounds idiotic and comic. I answered her, "What the hell lunches with destitute TIs? What the hell contributions if I do not get any membership fees or anything like this? What the hell nice things if I buy almost everything in second-hand stores? I would like to see these nice things at long last. Go to doctors and treat your disorder as soon as possible. Idiot with unclear evaluations." Okay. And blah, blah, blah. She... I reminded her that she started insulting us, Jeff and me. She wrote, Galina told her Canadian friends she and her husband were KGB and she defected and blah blah blah, that she made up all this BS. Nobody else could do it. There is no such a Canadian friend or targeted individual to whom I could tell such stories. How can you imagine it? That I meet a targeted individual and say to him, join our organization and send me money and I will steal this money because I have stolen money, these nice things on me. I bought them with money that I stole from you. Just incredible. Or any friend. Okay. Okay, my last word. Really, Stewart, forget my email address and never contact me again. Of course, you, as an obsessed, compulsive person, will never stop and continue to insult us. You are just unable to stop doing something without help from other people. So I am finishing this exchange with you, Slanderer Stewart. One more time. She insults Stewart. She insults, mocks, and ridicules people without any proofs. She just insults and starts all these fights, arguments, and purpose of such things are to purpose is obvious, to steal our energy, to steal our time, to steal our efforts, and to involve us in these endless exchanges of emails, endless fights, and so on. So now I hope that you have some impression about this Stewart. But it wasn't the end. Another person, his name is Jeff. I cannot reveal his full name because I do not have his permission to do this. But it was exchanged between many and many, like tens of targeted individuals. But anyway, all of a sudden, he, of course, he supported me, and she sent to him an email letter. I guess your mom is married to her brother to get a thing like you, Jeff. Oh my God, after that, she sent to him an email letter, the rantings of an inbred hectare. You should be on a guardianship for the mentally feeble. So she contacts other targeted individuals in this way, not just me for some personal reasons. No, this is her just regular behavior. The same way she attacked Ramola, a journalist, Ramola. So this, I am not exception of all rules. This is her regular behavior. And after that, I don't want to read all exchanges of our email, but she threatened us that she would pass this information to her lawyer. My lawyer loves it. And I answered to her, Karen, we keep your letters where you started calling us fools, morons, degenerates, imbeciles, manure, shit on your shoes, lower than feces. All of us are waiting for letters from your lawyer. And the last, after her last letter, I asked targeted individuals that yes, we can think about a lawsuit against Stewart. Just keep her emails where she starts calling our names. In all exchanges between me and her, she starts insults and slander. Sincerely, Galina Kurtina. So, guys, now you have a full impression of Karen Stewart, and I kindly ask you to keep emails from her where she insults you, starts arguments, starts fights, ridicules, mocks you, whatever, and we will think about a lawsuit against her. It is very possible. Just if you, for example, if I said to her that she was government agent, provocateur, slanderer, I can prove this. This is not an insult. This is the truth regarding Stewart. But she insults us. So please keep email letters from her, and maybe we will make all together. We will start a lawsuit against her. Next video will be about Julian McKinney. Sorry, I am very exhausted. I do not feel good, but I will try to do it today. Thank you for your support. All the best, dear.